Uh-oh. Now what do we do?
Turn your camera on.
Turn my camera. Okay,
Your camera.
okay, now you got me. Hi, Gemma.
Hi, Linda. How are you?
Good. I'm actually down in Florida.
Oh, nice.
The last Thanksgiving, yeah, so
That's a good place to be.
yeah, in Delray.
I'm just gonna real quick pull up the agenda. Feels like a while since we've done this.
Uh,
I think
yeah,
we-
well, no, we had a meeting in January, right?
No, we didn't. We skipped that one.
Oh, so just December.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
December. Yeah.
Okay.
So, because yeah, I think Candace had some, it's like in the hospital or something. There was
That's
a-
right, that
yeah.
got dropped, okay. Yeah, I don't have everything in front of me that I'd normally have at home, so. So how goes it so far? Whoop.
Okay, I don't know if you were at the city council meeting yesterday related to floodplain zoning.
No,
Oh, there wasn't a great turnout in support, unfortunately, and I think that will, makes it a little bit less of a surefire thing that it'll pass.
Was there a turnout that was opposing the floodplain zoning?
Yes, so 2 people spoke in support and 4 people spoke in opposition.
Hmm. Well, I'm sorry I didn't make it. I would have made it 3 speaking in support. Hey,
Well,
Bob.
did the
Good evening.
opposition propose anything different? Or they just were opposing? That was what was proposed.
You're welcome. I don't want to put words in their mouth. You're welcome to watch the recording,
Yeah,
but
okay.
it was, I think there's definitely the sentiment that there's something that needs to be done about protection from, protecting coastal areas from flooding, but a lot of the opposition was coming from sort of like the development community, where there's that when you prohibit certain uses on land, you're always going to get some pushback about how that affects the value
Sure.
and potential for that land. And those folks know, they tend to know how to show up at a public process as well. So, it was a learning experience for me of how that, also how we can get more voices to the table at those kinds of things. But we still don't have an answer yet. They continued, so they closed the public hearing part of it, but they continued to the next city council meeting for the actual vote. So it's still a question mark. So we'll see what happens.
Hmm. Well, we may have another round of this if the planning board is daunted at the moment by it. Now, where are we time-wise? It's 4:59. We've got a quorum, but I know Linda Saunders is very kindly attending from Florida. And Bob, I hope you're okay, but it looks like you're attending from bed.
I'm just trying to get out of the main living space so that
Good.
I don't take it up.
Good. I was afraid that maybe you were coming even though you had a horrible cold or something.
Nope.
But if one more person arrives, and I think we might be about to get that one person.
Yeah, Linda Brighton's here.
Yeah. Linda Saunders, you can drop off if you have other things you must do.
I worked it out, so it's fine.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I was just working out the meal. It's a mini last minute vacation, so.
Before we begin, I want to just quickly ask Gemma, when we get to the discussion of the ordinance that Jeff Worthley proposed and that he and Sam worked on, is there a way to flash the text up on the screen so that anybody who's watching us can see the ordinance? If not, we'll just, do the best we can by just referring to our own written copies.
So I can probably give whoever is wanting to share, I can make them a co-host so that they can share their screen.
Okay. And that would probably be Jeff. I assume that he'll have his text in front of him when he signs on.
Can you guys hear me? Yes.
Yes, we can. And I see John arriving.
Yeah, I was having
Hi,
a
John.
microphone. I'm not sure why, but there we are. Okay.
And John, we can see you, but as they say, through a glass darkly. Better. Thank you. Perfect. Okay. Well, let us begin.
Just 1 second.
Grab my agenda. Okay. Gemma, is it okay for me to welcome people?
Yes, we are actually we've already started the meeting. I must have hit start the meeting. So you're all
Okay.
set to go.
Very good. Good evening, everyone. This is the meeting of the Clean Energy Commission of Wednesday, February 15th, 2023. And we have a quorum present, so we are going to open the meeting. And the first thing that we do is to read the statement about the recorded Zoom status of the meeting. And here it goes. This meeting is recorded by video and audio in accordance with state open meeting law. Pursuant to Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation. Additionally, all votes taken by the CEC during this and future remote meetings will be by roll call vote. There is a note at the bottom that provides phone numbers and links to join the meeting, but we have realized that if somebody isn't already in the meeting, they won't hear these things if they aren't already tuned into it. So I will spare you the reading of lots of numbers. And let me start by introducing the board. I'm Candace Wheeler, the chairman. We have tonight with us Linda Saunders and Bob Meyer, Deborah Darby, Linda Brayton, and John Moskal. We are ready to proceed with our agenda. That is a full quorum. And the first thing that we are going to turn to is a brief opportunity for staff and member reports, starting out with reports from members on any meetings or webinars or notices that they would like to share with the group. And then we'll move on to minutes after that.
Just mention a couple of meetings that I believe I circulated the announcements. MAPC/DOER. One I just saw it yesterday, and I will send you the slides or whatever it is they provide from it on the stretch code. And the other one coming up is vehicles, is it?
Yeah, I attended the stretch code also.
Did too. Okay, yeah. I'm trying to figure out what the other one was. I can't seem to find the paper about it. But anyway, but I sent along the DOER Green Communities newsletter stuff in the second one, 14th of March, I believe.
Terrific, and we really appreciate.
And if anybody
getting
can't
those.
find it and wants to know, I'll get it to you.
Okay, thank you. It's very helpful to get these things. Sometimes I watch them after the fact, and it's great to have a link or the information in order to sign up. So thank you very much, Linda, for doing that.
It was also the city's, well, the MMA's webinar on how to better run city and community meetings.
Mhm.
I attended that one. That was very interesting.
A lot of it, I think we could already relate to, but it was nice to see it put together, I think.
Yep. All
There's
right.
just a couple of quick notes.
Yep.
I've done a half-hour PowerPoint on fisheries and offshore wind and how they can work together.
Oh, great.
And I presented it to the Salem group, SAFE, and it was well received there. So I'll be glad to present that if anybody's interested to it, in hearing it. And I have just done the first draft of establishing my position on hydrogen as a clean energy source and the pluses and minuses of it. I'm not done with that. I've just put it out for review. But that should be done in a couple of weeks, certainly less than a month. And if you would like to hear that presentation, it'd probably be about half an hour as well. That's available if you wish.
I'd be very interested in hearing both of them. And, you know, at the moment, you know, obviously the board hasn't taken an official position on either, but we greatly appreciate the research and groundwork that you've done to get us ready to talk about those things. Thank you, Bob. Okay, we have 3 sets of minutes, which Linda Saunders very kindly prepared for us to approve. And if I'll start out with the first one, which is the minutes of June 29th, 2022. Linda Saunders, did you get any comments for changes that needed to be made on those? And
Yes, I did. I got comments from Linda Brayton. And so she went very thoroughly through everything. I've noted them and we'll get those comments, those changes made.
okay,
Nothing of real substance that I can
Not at
recall.
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe John Moskal, you were okay with everything?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that included November too.
Mhm.
Okay.
oh, okay.
There was one meeting where I was not in attendance, and so I don't remember which of the
Right.
4 dates that you sent out, but I responded to that one saying I had nothing to comment on because I wasn't.
Okay. And on that note, Deb Darby, I missed her in the attendance for the November meeting, I believe it was, so I'll fix that.
Okay, great.
And I
And
don't
I'm
think,
sorry,
I didn't, Sam is out of town, so I got an auto reply. And Bob, I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, I had no concerns about it. Looked good.
Okay,
And I did not either, so I think
Okay.
that we can proceed. What was the date of November? Because I failed to mention that. And
I
we'll-
believe it's the 16th.
the 16th, okay. So I would like a motion to approve all 4 sets of minutes, the June 29th, August 24th, October 10th, and November 16th minutes of the Clean Energy Commission.
So moved.
All in favor, and this is going to be roll call. Deborah, your hand went up, so I'll start with you. Deborah Darby,
I,
Linda Brayton,
I,
John Moskal,
Aye.
Bob Myers,
I
Linda Saunders, Candace Wheeler, aye. Okay, terrific. And Linda, you're downright heroic, you know,
Yeah.
to produce that whole big batch for us. And we are very grateful for your watchful eye over the content of the meetings and willingness to continue to do the minutes.
so we still have December
Mhm.
outstanding and then this evening's meeting.
Okay. All right. Well, now let's go on to the general discussion part of the agenda, or the staff and member topics rather. Staff update by Gemma Wilkins, the Sustainability Coordinator. Take it away, Gemma.
Hey,
Bravo.
bravo, bravo.
So just a little bit, I just wanted to give you kind of a little brief of what's been going on the, you know, city side of things, the staff side of things. I have a little PowerPoint, but there's not too many topics here. Is that gonna work? Do you guys see that as a full page?
Yes.
Yes.
Great, great. Okay. So the first piece is just the Mass Save Community Partnership. We were renewed for another year of funding to continue this. And, you know, I think it's been pretty successful at reaching out to folks so far. We know that we've directly influenced, which is based on the data that our home performance contractor is able to share with us. 447 energy assessments since the beginning of this and 61 weatherizations. But there's also potentially more on top of that, folks who go through the general Mass Save program abode, or folks who go through the multifamily or low income program wouldn't be counted in that number. With that, we're preparing for the summer. You know, that's when the heaviest kind of community outreach takes place. With, you know, thinking about some events that we can host, something like the heat pump party, but, you know, maybe focused on a different topic. And also other events that we can attend, table at, actually get out in the community much more. And, you know, with that said, I was kind of hoping to start a conversation with the Clean Energy Commission and offer an opportunity for you all to participate in outreach activities. You know, manpower is always a challenge for us when it comes to, you know, being able to be in a lot of different places where people are. And, you know, if that's something you're interested in, I'm happy to, you know, try to set up a system for letting you all know when there's opportunities. We could maybe, you know, do a training to talk about, well, what is the information we're trying to get out there to the public? What are the materials? So I kind of just wanted to offer that, you know, as a way, you know, in case the Clean Energy Commission is interested and would want to pursue that. And it doesn't have to be everybody also, you know, if there's a couple of you.
You know, I don't know that I'd be available for every opportunity, but I would definitely like to be available for some. And, you know, whether it was tabling about the program that you just described, the energy assessments and the community partnership with Mass Save, or other things as they come up. You know, I know it's really important to get the word about those things out because there's a lot available. And, you know, at this point, there are lots of financial incentives to investing in clean energy measures for individual homeowners. So, you know, if you could maybe, Gemma, let us know when there is, you know, some kind of opportunity like, as we see in the picture here, you know, some sort of a city presence at a fair or something like that, we could help staff it.
Sure.
And we may be able to get CACC members as well, you know, who'd be willing to help spread the word on things. So, any other thoughts?
Yeah, I'm certainly willing to do my share. And so I'd like to see, yeah, it would be nice to have a kind of a calendar of events or list of opportunities or whatever. And we can all jump in as we see that we can.
Okay. Gemma, has Mass Save scheduled anything yet, or is that going to come closer to the actual summer times that these things might be set up?
So our partner Homeworks actually, you know, goes out and tables in the community. The limitation we have with Homeworks is that they really can only talk about their programs because the way they do that, right? They, you know, they work all across the North Shore. They have hundreds of folks that go out and table in all different communities. So, you know, they can talk about home energy assessments, but not really within the context of Gloucester. We have a lot of other pieces that we'd like to be talking about. So, you know, I'm hoping, you know, we're also hiring, and I'll talk about that in a bit, to be able to have more of a presence when they go out in the community, you know, to have someone from Gloucester that, you know, not in every scenario, but, you know, every once in a while, be able to have someone from Gloucester kind of set up with them and bring that like Gloucester context. So if you are interested in doing that, I think probably the first step would be to set up some kind of training where I could actually show you, right, like what are the materials, what are the resources that we're trying to talk to people about, and right, like how would you be able to represent the city in that capacity, if you are interested in that. That would, I think, be the first step. So I don't know if you want, you know, I can try to put together a time, and if anybody's interested in attending that, they can. I'll have to figure out if, you know, that because it's a training, if I can just go ahead and do that, or if we want to post it as a public meeting. But that would be the first step if you are, you know, interested in
Okay.
getting involved in that way.
Gemma, I would think that at least the training might be good for the entire commission to see if it's, say, one of the CEC meetings, just because I think we should all know it.
I agree with that.
Sure. All right. I'm going to note that down.
All right.
Any other thoughts on that piece or any ideas of how that could work?
And now just curious whether the Mass Save thing is an umbrella over any programs for National Grid. In the past, they had some particular initiatives that we got involved in, but they are, of course, connected to Mass Save, as are all the other utilities.
Yes. So so National Grid is one of the sponsors of Mass Save. So Mass Save is not really, right, they don't have like a headquarters or anything. They are essentially a consortium of utilities, and basically, all ratepayers pay a little additional charge on each of their bills that goes into a pool of funds that all of those ratepayers have access to do energy efficiency work. And they have access to that through Mass Save, essentially. So that's the connection to National Grid.
Okay, terrific. All right, well, that's good to know. And next thing in the list here was update on community electricity aggregation programs, marketing updates, and next steps.
Yes. So, continuing in the theme of
Oh,
community
wow.
engagement, which is, coming into the summer, is really heating up. Thanks to Bob, we have a design for a yard sign. We have gone to the printer. We have gone to the printer, and we've got 50 yard signs right now that we can start thinking about getting out into the community. And the other piece that we worked with Good Energy to produce is a flyer about the program. So the old flyers were pretty well out of date, and we're just going to keep this one digital so that the next in the next 3-year cycle we can update the rates and the expiration dates and be able to continue to use it. But with that, what I'm hoping to do is connect with you, Bob, if you're willing, to start to think about getting yard signs out to folks who are signed up for 100% local green.
Great.
If any of you all are and would like a yard sign, we can figure out a way to get it to you, or you can come here and pick one up.
Mhm.
Yes.
I got
Yeah,
one.
I'll be glad to help out, whatever I can do to help out there, of course. And
Yeah.
yes, I really want the sign. I want to put mine up first.
No, I'm first. I've been doing this since like whatever years before it was even called this. I get the first
Great. And both of you have good visible locations right from Washington Street. So the word will be getting out better at your houses. But I certainly like to put mine up too. So that's terrific. And let's see, we've got the signs.
This is really great, Gemma. This is really terrific. Very, very heartwarming for me to see that you've carried through on this and it's there. I mean, this is great.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'm excited to see them up, and maybe especially if I drop one off, maybe I can get a photo for social media as well.
Ah,
But yes, so if you would like a sign, just shoot me an email, or you can even just pop in to the Three Pond Road office, or shoot me an email. I'm happy to also drop it off at your house if needed. We can figure out what would work.
Okay, great. That's excellent. Any other changes in marketing approach?
So can I ask a question
Sure.
about this? And how it might apply to some people. Gemma, I haven't had an electric bill in 2 years. I put solar panels on, and I'm just opted into the regular 10% above the normal option, but I don't really ever pay anything. And so I can't imagine I'm the only person in this boat, for that. So is there a thing that we want to give? Is this kind of gumming up the explanation a little bit for people in that that class, or would that be something they would be able to advertise about themselves as well?
Yeah, I think when I think about the purpose, the thrust behind this, it really is to just get the word out there about this program, pique some interest in the community. So, if somebody is enrolled in the 100% local green and they want to put a sign in their yard, I would say they should go for it, right? It's just, it's like putting a bumper sticker that
Yeah,
says
but
support
I'm
local
thinking,
on
what
your-
about somebody who's not enrolled in the 100% local green, but has solar panels covering 100% of their usage already? Is that it's really, I mean, it's a bit of an apples and oranges
Yep.
comparison in that way, but it's it's also, all of these things are going to start to confuse people at a certain point.
John, I have a comment about that. I mean, I'm in a similar situation to yours, but here's the thing. This is about the 100% local green electricity through aggregation. Just as you probably understand, you could just opt up to 100% and you'd pay 3 cents more on 0 kilowatt hours, which doesn't amount to a lot. So
Yeah, to me, then that's, to me, just a pointless gesture.
Well, it may be, but I'll tell you what happens is if there's a time when you get your EV and charge it up and or you do something else that consumes more electricity, it's going to be 100% green. You're not going to be thinking, oh my God, my smokestack's smoking.
Yeah, I'd probably just put another set of panels on the west facing side of
But-
my roof. So
Yeah, if you could get it done in time, but in the meantime, you're burning coal, dirty electricity. So when you have the 100% green, you're always covered, and why not do it? I mean, that's what I would say to you as John Moscow.
Bob,
Why
Bob,
not
if I
do
can
it?
interject, I think personally, John, if you want to put a yard sign, right? So one of the pieces is just how we reach out to people,
Yeah.
right? We're not going to be able to reach out to people who are not enrolled. But
I know, and maybe I'm just sort of distracting the conversation, a little bit, because I have a yard that nobody sees anyway, and so it's not like there's a lot of foot traffic going by, and so I'm just curious as to have you thought of that, because over the number of houses with solar panels that I see in this city over the last 10 years just driving around has gone up exponentially, and so
yeah, and I honestly think you're raising, right, there's a good point there of people, right? People definitely have questions about how they navigate all of these pieces, right? What would work best for them in particular? Should I be thinking about solar, right? If I'm a renter,
Right.
maybe you're just going to opt up to the 100%, or maybe it's not in your budget, so you go with community you go with the local green. And I think the hope is that getting onto community tabling, right, we will be able to start to coach people through some of those decisions. And yes, I'm definitely interested in, starting to talk about solar as well. Some other communities have done like Solarize campaigns. But it's from where I'm right, we got this Mass Save program, so we've been focused mostly on energy efficiency. But I think it's a valid point. And certainly if someone has solar on their rooftop, I think that is speaking to that speaks to how things are changing, what is an option, right? When people see their neighbors doing something, they're interested and want to
okay.
see if it works for them.
I'm sorry for going sideways on this.
Yeah.
No, don't apologize.
I would say that, yeah, I think that I would agree that it has taken a bit sideways, John. And I would ask why, do you have a reason why you aren't going to 100% green if you don't use any?
Bob, I don't know.
Honestly, I never thought about it, Bob. And,
Well, but I mean,
have
I'm just
more
asking.
important things going on
Yeah,
right now.
well,
than
I'm
paying
sure
attention to
you,
which
I'm sure
electric
you,
bill comes in.
yeah, I'm sure you do, John. But I mean, the whole idea here is that we have a 3-year price for a net, such that if we ever use any electricity, it's going to be green. That's something that I, with my solar panels and you with yours, can't guarantee, because we'll run over.
Bob,
But if
I
you
might
put
ask that.
If
Sorry.
you put that net, sorry, I just wanted to finish. So if you put that net under it, what you're doing is you're really endorsing this idea of aggregation and working together on aggregation. So if we do something that says, well, if you've got a couple solar panels, you're doing your job, you can put up the sign too, it kind of defeats the purpose.
Bob,
Okay,
I might offer that, I think I understand where you're coming from, but, I think it's a very particular scenario and, we're going to get started with exactly right, putting yard signs in folks who are enrolled, and I'll follow up with you about contacting some folks that are enrolled in the 100% program and asking them if
do we
they'd be
know how many
interested.
there are, Gemma?
I'm one of them. I'm one of them.
Yes.
There's
Okay.
about, I
Thanks.
think there's about, I think there's about 100 or something like that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think you're right. I feel like I missed an opportunity because I just looked at the data today, and I didn't look at that specifically. We were curious about how much people are actually saving with the National Grid rates going up by a lot, and eventually we'll share that information once the cycle is fully finished and we have the exact numbers. But I think really it's just there's a lot of benefit coming from aggregation right now for people, and I certainly see that in the number of calls I'm getting interested in the program, and in the enrollment of the program. It's jumped by about 1,000 since this summer.
Wow.
So
The enrollment, I'm sorry, the enrollment of what program?
in community aggregation across all. Mostly, I believe that's in the local green, the 11 cents per kilowatt hour option.
Interesting, because I thought you were automatically enrolled in community aggregation unless you opted out.
So that is true. However, there are quite a lot of folks that are not enrolled, and the reason being either they're new to town, they changed something about their utility bill recently, and they haven't been swept into the program yet. Or the main reason I see is that people are on third-party suppliers, and sometimes those are quite expensive for them.
Yeah. So I guess what I'd be interested in, Gemma, with regard to this larger discussion is if we have a denominator of the total number of electric accounts in the city, how many are on third-party providers, how many are on community aggregation, and how many are on this 100% green buy up for that, and we could see what the penetration level is and where our opportunities are.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, I agree. So right now what we have is the numbers for enrollment in all of those. What we don't have is the denominator of how many accounts there actually are. So I reached out to National Grid to find out how many accounts actually are there in Gloucester, right? So because we know how many are enrolled in our program, but that's
Mhm.
the more important thing is what proportion of accounts in Gloucester are actually enrolled.
Can I please make a point?
Oh, yes. Sorry, Linda.
I have been enrolled in 100% since there was such a thing, and I have also had solar panels for probably 15 years. Personally, I would be bothered if this were going to somebody that had solar panels but didn't go to the 100%, because this is outreach for the 100%. It says it right on the flyer. We opted 100%. It doesn't say we opted to do nothing about the CEA, but we have solar.
Mhm.
So I think that let's just not get the two things mixed up.
Yeah, but I
Yeah,
do
I
think
agree
that
with
it's
that.
a little disingenuous though for those people that have, it's easy to say I'm going to pay 30% more on a $3 electric bill because you got solar panels on, when you're asking other people to increase the the supply portion of their bill by 30%. And so
Then they don't have to. But the point is the
they
people.
don't have to, but by
Point is
by
the
you
report-
advertising it and going off on it like that, you're sort of implying that's okay when you're not actually paying the real difference.
Well, John, I mean, why don't we
This
just sort of go forward with it, John, instead of
I'm not
Instead of
I'm not
throwing-
saying don't
throwing
go
hurdles
forward with it.
and throwing the wet
I'm saying
blankets
that
on
there are
this,
questions that you're going to have to be
I think it's
prepared to answer.
counterproductive. I think
There may
it's
be
counterproductive.
a few people in the city.
Signs, there are only 50 yard signs. The idea from what I heard from the person that told about it in the first place from Melrose, it was National Grid, whoever it was, the heat pump thing. The idea was it was kind of a reward. You get the sign for a month and move it on. they supposedly and probably are scarce. When people start to want to have them in their yards, it's not going to be a good thing to be given to somebody that isn't actually doing what the sign says.
Okay.
There's only
Well,
two.
it sounds like we can get started on distributing signs, you know, where we are 100% clear that somebody has in fact, you know, purchased the 100% green package. And I mean, I think every time I look at John's house, I think, and Linda's too, wow, you know, they are forward-looking people who went to solar, you know, on their own long ago. And, you know, I think that their support for clean energy is clear in their choice to have solar on their own roofs. But let's not get too tangled up in, you know, the question of the relatively small number of people who either have both 100% green purchase, you know, membership with the clean energy, the CEA, you know, and also have solar panels. I mean, that's not a very big group in the city. So
Right, and I would really
I would
want us not to be
like to say
muddying
another thing
the
about
message.
Can I give it
as
a whirl
well.
again? There's one other point about it. The idea, when I heard it from this person from Melrose, was that people who knew people who did this would get signs. And my only thought by volunteering now and kind of making a joke with Bob and fighting for them is, let's get the signs out to get the ball rolling. But the basic program that she was describing is with somebody new opted up, they got a sign for a month.
yep.
And I really think that's a good system. And if you know, it just, if we want to get the ball rolling and people talking about it, fine. There are people, Bob and I right now.
So
And
give new enrollees the signs.
I just, you know, put the sign on the lawn, don't put the sign on the lawn, but it would be a way to get it started. But the idea was it was a reward for people who just did it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah, and Bob, I think I'll follow up with you to talk about, right, how, because that is the question of, right, how do we actually recruit people in who are opting up, right, potentially, you know, we're asking Good Energy about putting a checkbox on their form to say that they're interested in having a sign, but you know, right now it's really about folks who are already on and reaching out and seeing if we can just kind of build a little bit of momentum there. And you know, people might also tell their friends, and then their friends are going to want to sign up and want to sign, right? That's the hope.
Jim,
But
I have
I'm going to move on to the next piece. Oh, sorry, Candace.
just a quickie. One other marketing question is there any possibility that the excellent flyer that you had up on the screen for the signs could be sent out with the water bills or something like that? Or does Gloucester have a policy against that?
So it's very unlikely, and it's not because of a policy, it's because of the fact that the materials that get sent out with those water bills and things, there's only so much real estate, you can only pack so much in there, and there's traditionally, you know, certain departments that use that for, you know, public health, for example, to get information out to the public. You know, we're partnered with Homeworks Energy so that we can do a mailing. Mailings are crazily expensive in a city like Gloucester. So we are going to be doing another mailing for the Mass Save program, but not specifically community aggregation. I'm hoping to the next mailing to put an invitation to like some kind of energy fair or something, though, that we could have someone talking about aggregation at that fair. So
Okay.
got people showing up to that would be a connection.
All right.
So yes, I'll move on to the next piece, which is job opportunities. Right, like I said, summer going into looking at, you know, ramping up community engagement. And part of that is being able to help people through making these decisions, talking about, you know, what resources are available to them. So with that, there's 3 positions that we're trying to market right now and get the word out about. The first 2 are internships. So we're going to have an internship for a high school student or a recent high school graduate, as well as an internship for a college student or a recent college graduate. They're both paid positions, and it would really focus on, right, you know, providing that manpower, that people power to kind of get out into the community, actually talk to people, have a presence, you know, make the city accessible for people to ask questions.
Gemma, you got to switch the titles on these. You have college outreach intern in the upper left with a description of a high school job, and then
Oops.
vice versa.
Oh, whoopsie. And so yes, those are the two internships. Those are just for summer. The high school intern, I think, is the rate of pay is 15 an hour, and then the college intern is 18 an hour. And if you know any young people, or I'll probably follow up with an email with some links to our social media posts about this if you want to repost them. We'd love to try and get some good people on board. The third position would be a full year position. It's an energy coach position. It's also funded through the Mass Save Community First Partnership. And it really would be somebody who can, take the time to understand what Mass Save is offering, as well as some other programs that the city has, right? So take the time to understand Mass Save's programs, community aggregation, what are the fuel assistance programs out there, understand Action Inc.'s energy programs, and kind of help people navigate, how do you sign up to be as for the moderate income program, how do you figure out if you're qualified for the low income program, helping people enroll in community aggregation, just really helping people navigate that. I'm sure they will do, tabling and things like that as well, but also being a resource to, sit down with people and work through how they actually take the first steps to
Yep.
do these types of things.
How to sign up.
So that is $25 an hour. It's up to 20 hours a week, part-time position, and it would be a full year position with the potential for that to continue on after a year, depending on if we get funded again for the Mass Save Community First Partnership.
Mhm.
These are terrific.
Wow.
They look really good, and I think they're really interesting positions.
Yeah,
Well done.
this should really give us, some traction for getting information out there. So that's wonderful. And
Yeah,
it's
it's
great
great.
that there's potential for an ongoing halftime, position. The last one, the full year position, it's possible that it could become a multi-year thing if we qualify for the National Grid Mass Save funding.
Mhm.
So excellent.
All right. So yes, spread the word if you're able to. I'll send flyers as well if you have a place to put those.
Mhm.
And then the last quick update is that we have a new staff member in community development. Her name is Erin. She started on January 30th. She's the new administrative assistant for community development. So you might start seeing emails from her, Zoom invites from her, and I just wanted to put her email address there. And that is all I have for you. Thank you for listening to me ramble on. And I'll hand it back to you, Candace, if that's okay.
Okay, thank you very much. One quick question that I have is, given the arrangement of staff and the presence of a new director of community development, when we are sending CEC correspondence, should we be copying Greg and David Fields and Erin, or just Erin? I don't want to shower, Greg and David Fields with stuff that, they won't have time to get to. But, I do not want to leave them out of our correspondence loop if they want to stay in it. What's your thought?
So I would say if you have a particular question, I'm not really sure what particular type of correspondence you're talking about, but if you are sending some information, general information about like scheduling or something out and you want to keep us in the loop, I would CC myself, and you're welcome to CC Erin as well, especially if it has to do with Zoom invites or scheduling or anything like
And
that.
yeah, just meeting notices and agendas and things of that sort.
Yes, yeah.
So send it to you and Erin, and you'll forward it to Greg and David if they, for some reason, need to be involved.
Yeah. And if you if it's something to do with planning and you want to CC Greg, that's okay too. But I think just as a matter of practicality, you can just CC me and Erin if it's related to something administrative.
Terrific. It sounds good. All right, now moving on, our second topic area is a discussion of Councillor Jeff Worthley's proposed energy ordinance. He and Sam Zergabel worked on it and made some revisions. And I circulated copies of the revised ordinance to all of the CEC members. And I'd like to ask if Jeff has arrived. Are you present at this meeting, Jeff? And I can't hear anything to that effect. Gemma,
don't see him.
So I don't see him in the
in the participants or panelists
participants,
list.
and I do see a participant. So I'm assuming that means that there wasn't any trouble with people getting on to the webinar.
Mhm. Well, good question. I don't know if it would be possible for us to quickly email or call him and just see if he's, somehow or other not going to show up. He knew that he was the second item on the agenda, so we may not have known, at what point he should be present, but
And Sam's not here either, so that's the
Yeah.
other. I would not be
yeah.
able.
Mhm.
We may just have to, postpone it yet again.
Yeah, that's what it
Gemma,
looks like.
Do you have access to being able to email him separate from our meeting and just say, are you there? It's your turn.
I'm happy to do that.
Let's just give it-
I'm gonna just CC you, Candace. So, and I'll just mention that you'd asked to just check in with
Okay.
him.
And I'll check on my cell phone to see whether there's a reply. You're going to email him rather than text him?
Yes.
Okay, I'll go to email. Okay. Well, we're
Yeah,
waiting
should
to-
we maybe decide on our next meeting?
Yeah, that would make sense.
Yep.
So if we are been working with third Wednesday of the month for the last few months, would let's see what our third Wednesday of March would be. The 15th of March. Does that seem like a workable date for our group here?
The Ides, are you saying the Ides?
Are
of
they?
March?
It's the Ides. Oops.
Or at 5 p.m.? Okay,
Yeah, it looks good to me.
What is the date? I'm sorry.
Wednesday, March 15 at 5 o'clock.
Okay, there's a chance I may be in California that week, but don't hold anything up for me.
Okay.
And will be driving at 5
Okay.
o'clock. So I will be in Massachusetts traffic. So there's
Oh, dear.
it's likely that I won't be able to join the call on Wednesday, the 15th.
Okay. Well, let me find out, let's tentatively choose that date. Unless you all would be just as happy to go for the 22nd of March.
that works for me.
Would that be better for you, John?
Potentially, I'm either going to be in Los Angeles the first or second week in March. So the 22nd, I'm pretty sure I'll be back here.
Okay.
Okay for me.
All right. When Gemma tunes back in. Gemma, are you there?
Either day's okay.
Yes, 1 minute. I'm just hitting send, but the 22nd of March would work on our end as well.
Okay.
great.
Why don't we choose that as our tentative date, and I'll run it by Sam when he returns. And we will see whether we've got to go.
All right, March 22nd, you said? March 22nd at 5 p.m.
Yep. That would be great. I did email Jeff yesterday just to ask him for a confirmation that he was coming, and I didn't see an answer, so maybe he
All
was
right,
called
well,
away for
perhaps
some
we
reason.
wrap it up then.
Yeah. I guess we don't have any choice but to do that.
Okay,
Have Sam here.
Um,
No,
mm,
so-
There is one there is one person in the participants, it's not any name that I recognize, but I might just allow them to talk in case that is.
Okay,
If this is Jeff Worthley, you're allowed to talk and just let us know it's you. And if not, I will remove permission to talk in a few minutes.
Yeah,
let's
don't
get-
forget to unmute.
my screen says
you.
Anita Wolovic. And, I don't know whether she had any questions for the board while we're at it, but I think I remember the name Anita Wolovic from Water Resources at some point, so.
All
Gemma,
right.
could we let her speak and see whether she has anything that she wanted to pass on to us?
Yes, if she is able to speak, if she wants to speak right now.
Okay, right, I see a mic with a red line through it, so,
That just means she's muted. So I'm gonna,
Oh, okay.
I don't think she wants to speak. I don't want to put her on the spot for too long, so
Okay.
I'm gonna remove permission to talk.
okay.
But worth a shot, just in case.
Okay, well, it's 10 minutes of 6, and I can't see just hanging in midair.
great.
I think we've got a tentative date for the 22nd of March, and maybe we wind it up for tonight. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to
moved.
adjourn? Oh,
Okay, and roll call vote, Linda Brayton,
I,
Candace Wheeler, aye. Linda Saunders,
aye.
Deborah Darby,
Aye.
Bob Myers,
Aye.
and John Moskell.
I,
Okay, thank you very much. And thank you, Gemma, for your excellent preparation and very good.
Yeah, great
graphics.
work.
Very good.
Great work.
Really
Yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah.
All right,
all
thank
soon.
you.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you,
Bye, guys.
everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Good night.